So you just did this exercise, digging into your responsibilities, and truly I'm excited for you. See, when I really started to do these exercises and look at my own life and go clear on my responsibilities, it didn't give me more responsibility. It actually gave me less things on the deck, and what was left I could really focus on. So I hope that you're having somewhat the same experience. What we're going to talk about next is something which really is at the core of a man: values. Now, I don't want to have a conversation around values that looks like this. I don't want to have a conversation of what's right and what's wrong, what should be, what shouldn't be. The only conversation that I'm interested in having with you about values is based on the precept that you may not have considered before. You see, the truth is, you are free to become any kind of man who you choose to become. And with that, you are free to choose and live whatever values you want. You see, most of us grew up and were given values. We basically inherited them from our family, from our culture, from our society, from TV, all kinds of places. And what most of us haven't really done is spend a lot of time digging into the values that we consider important and asking ourselves questions like, where did this come from? Do I really, truly believe this and align with this? Or would I like to swap this value out and bring something more powerful that I connect with stronger and that will lead me more effectively through the rest of my life? Now, can you imagine you spent a little bit of time doing those kinds of exercises? Imagine the level of power and conviction in who you are and what you believe that you can generate through that. I want you to think about people in your life right now. I know that you have people who have very strong values, and forget about whether you agree with their values or not, but think about how clear they are. And then likewise, consider the people in your life who really have either very loose or no values or even fluid values, whether you agree with it or not. How powerful are they? Or do they just blow around in the wind? There's this old quote, right? The man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. I think it's so true. So what I want you to do, I'm going to give you a very powerful exercise called the Value Hunter Experience, which is going to give you a framework for really digging into this question of what is important to you and what values do you have, what values do you want, which values would serve you the best and support your major definite purpose and support your responsibilities and allow you to show up in the room as a man with more conviction than most people have ever even seen. So you want to start asking yourself some serious questions. Questions you might want to ask are, what in life am I willing to fight for? What do I stand for? And this is important. If you truly stand for something with full conviction, you're willing to put yourself on the line for it, right? Now, part of that is that when I'm around you or other people are around you, they should feel your conviction. They should feel the level of values that you have. You really need to live it, not just think it. You know, years ago, I was on Vision Quest up on the mountains, and I had some experiences. I had a vision, and one of the things I came down the mountain with was this message that I received, that part of my purpose, part of my mission, was to bring power and peace to the people. It's something that I embedded deep inside of myself, which is great, right? But I try to live it every day. I look at situations and I say, how can I bring more peace to this person? How can I give more power to this person? If I didn't believe this, if I hadn't got this embedded, I probably wouldn't be making this video right now. I mean, I live it, or do my best to live it, to the point that I even sign off most of my emails, Power and Peace, Simon Smart. You've probably seen that if you've had an email from me. So you really want to get your values and live them as best you can. So let's dive into this experience. You're going to do this after the video, but I'm going to talk you through how to do it. And again, we want to do this experiment. We want to have this experience from a perspective of forget about what you believe right now. Forget about it. Just take a bit of time, clear the decks, clear the space for you to really explore. So what I want you to do first is think of 3 people who you look up to, 3 people that you idolize, that you put on a pedestal, that you think are very high quality people that you want to emulate. And for each of these 3 people, I want you to write down maybe 3 to 5 values that you see in them. 3 to 5 values that drive them, or behaviors that they have that you feel called to admire. And the reality is that these people can be in your life, or they can be people you've never met. They might be people in your business community, on Facebook, on TV, but they're people you look up to. And the truth is, they may or may not have these values, especially if you've never met them. You know what social media is right? But the fact that you see these values in these people tells us that you're somewhat called to those qualities. So I want you to write down 3 to 5 for each person. And when you finish with that exercise, I want you to do the opposite. I want you to think of maybe 3 people in your life or who you know of who don't inspire you, who you look down on a little bit. You may consider them low quality people who repel you. Do the same thing. Write down 3 to 5 values or behaviors that these people have that really repel you. And again, they may or may not have them in reality in their life, but it's the fact that you see this in them and it repels you. That's what we're looking for. So by the time you've done this exercise, you're going to have a list of 10 to 20 values that you admire, and the same values that you really are repelled by, that push you away, that you don't care for. And then I want you to go to the next level. Write down 3 or 4 values that you would love to see in your son. If you don't have kids yet, that's okay, but imagine one day you'll have a son who'll grow up to be a man. What values would you like to see him live by? Then imagine you have a daughter. What values would you like to see in the man who marries her? And this is going to stimulate inside of you a real conversation of what is important to you. Again, forget the values you have or that you've inherited. Look at it as, what do you want? What calls to you? What pushes you away? Do this exercise and have a deep experience that's going to open your eyes to the values that you need so that you can become a better man, and do more, and achieve more. The last thing that I want you to do as a part of this experience is take all these values that you've listed that seem important to you and the ones that repel you, and I want you to scale from 1 to 10 how closely you currently live these values. So 1 would mean you don't live these values at all. 10 would mean you live them very strongly. So you're going to scale them all based on who you are right now. And then the last thing you're going to do, if you see a dissonance and a gap where perhaps there's a value that you want, but you're really not living it right now, you have to go do one more step. You're going to have to ask yourself the question, what do you need to change inside of yourself? And what do you need to change in your daily life to support you shifting into a place where you and your life align with that value? So in the next video, after you do that, you're going to come back and we're going to talk about how to really live with conviction, how to convey it, how to communicate, and how to set up your life in a way that allows you to be a man with conviction and power, and even to the point that other people feel that around you. And also, we're going to talk about how not to bleed out your power and your energy through your actions in a way that you dampen down and lose your conviction. So we're going to come back to that, but in the meantime, go do the Value Hunter experience. Really dig into it, really spend some time with it, and you're going to come out the other end with a phenomenally clear view of who you are, what you want, what you stand for, which will be far more clear than almost anyone in society. I'll see you on the other side.